5, 4, 3. That's the motto, and that is it for us today. And we'll leave you with it. I can't do it. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks. In 5, 4, 3.
Happy Friday and welcome to the Wolff Den presented by Win Again Academy. Mark Moyer doing some great things with his networking and informational events. WinAgainAcademy.com. I am Matt Wolff, founder and CEO of Ticket Time Machine. Today we got Rishi Bahl of Chord Music Festival joining the Wolff Den. Rishi, how the hell are you?
What's up, man? Long time no talk, no see, no nothing.
Yeah, a long time. So tell everybody, if they don't know, who you are, and then we'll dive into a whole lot of things, music and festivals and professorship. We might even get a little politics, you and I, with we'll see what happens.
Well, my name is Rishi Bahl. I am a musician first and foremost in a band called Eternal Boy. And then through that, I ended up starting a music festival here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania called the Chord Music Festival. It's in its 7th year, though the last year and a half has we would be in our 9th year, but we're in our 7th year. And then after that, I started a record label called Chord Music. And those are basically my life, but my other life is that I'm also a college professor. I have a PhD in marketing, and I'm a marketing professor at a small liberal arts, private, nonprofit university here in Western Pennsylvania.
And tell everybody the most ridiculous part about this. How old are you?
33.
It's crazy.
Yep.
When I first, I'm like, it's just nuts. The accomplishments that you've done, at 33, and to do it in the fashion that you love it's very difficult. I can tell you, I'm going to be 45 next month.
Yeah, but you look like you're 16. So
no, I know I look young, but the point is, it took me a long time to get kind of where I wanted to be and doing the thing I really, really enjoy. So it's a huge accomplishment. You probably should have some under 40, like 40 under 40. Has anyone reached out to you about that yet?
Yeah, in Pittsburgh, I got one of the ones in 2017 for like a magazine here in Pittsburgh. But the thing is that I guess it's cool and it's awesome. I'm very, very fortunate, but I've been doing this for a while now. Since I've been 18, really. So I got a head start, I guess, if you could look at it that way. Just playing shows in Pittsburgh, touring from when I was 18 until today. And when you do that, you obviously school was always something that was a backup plan for me. I guess you could still say it is kind of a safety net, so to speak, but it just kind of happened. It wasn't like a planned out thing where I was like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It just kind of happened. And that's the fun way that it all happened. So,
yeah, we had Kevin Lyman on Monday. He teaches a class out at USC. We had my friend Mackie on. He's at UM and he's in the ticket department. He teaches a sports class. I have a friend, Ken Troop, who teaches a sports class at SMU. So it's a lot of that going on with people who aren't like full-time, because you're a full-time professor.
Yeah, full-time, tenure track.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people who aren't full-time who are just doing classes here, but you're a full-time professor while all, able to do that. It's an incredible story. When I first learned about that, I'm like, holy smokes. And then to learn that Chord is your baby, Chord Music Festival, and you have some help along the way, but it's basically you're like me. You're the man. And,
Chord Music Festival is pretty much just me. It's really funny because Kevin Lyman is like my mentor. Kevin Lyman is the only person that ever helped my band. I look back over years and I think, what are the people and what are the bands or nobody has really helped us other than maybe a handful of people. And Kevin was the first guy that said, yo, this Rishi kid has been bothering me for years to get on Warped Tour, and eventually put us on. And we played a lot of Warped Tour. So I love Kevin Lyman, in a platonic way. But
if there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah. He really kind of paved the way for me. Chord Music Fest is essentially a Pittsburgh geographically located Warped Tour, is really the way. And actually Chord, the year you were there, which was the last time we had it
in
2019. That was the location. That parking lot was the location of the first Warped Tour I ever went to in Pittsburgh.
Oh, wow.
Before they tore it down and made it into a soccer stadium. But it's, obviously, now, and, Kevin has a lot more insight than I do. Take a class from Kevin Lyman as an undergraduate. Like, I don't even know 18-year-olds even understand fully what exactly he has done for the music industry and the music scene. So, I would have absolutely died to take a class with Kevin Lyman. So
yeah, I bet. Well, let's talk about Four Chord Music Festival 6. It's actually, and I'm not just saying this, it's my favorite ticket that I've done. It pops incredibly well. It just kind of has everything. And
I have mine somewhere too. No, I don't have. I have this though.
Oh, there you go.
I've got so much Ticket Time Machine stuff, dude. Like, all my friends and everybody absolutely love those tickets, dude.
Yeah, I think it's, you gave me a chance, and it was like, look, you want a booth, let's do a booth, do whatever the hell you want, which is, I can tell you, I've made thousands of calls. I don't get that. And you're the only one event that I've actually gone to and sold. And full disclosure, it was a fucking disaster. And we're going to talk about why it was and why you're so awesome. But if you take a look, Four Chord Music featuring Offspring, Simple Plan, Amberlin, Knuckle Puck, Real Friends. So I'm going to tell the story from my point of view, and then you can tell your story from your point of view. I love Offspring. I love Simple Plan. This was a no-brainer for me. I went to the Gator-Auburn game on Saturday, took the 5 o'clock flight up to Pittsburgh, got there in time, and had a booth. And meanwhile, I've never done a booth before, so I don't even know what the hell I'm doing. But I ordered a bunch of tickets to sell, and that was it. So we're out there. Rob, thanks for joining. Rishi is
man. Rob is the best, dude.
Yeah.
Rob is the best.
So I get there, and what happens? Offspring, 5 minutes before the gate opens, has to pull out. Now, who gives a shit about me? I ordered a little ticket, but 75% of everything I have has Offspring on it. Now we got bad weather, right? Bad weather. And look, this you knew about, but you probably thought it was going to help you. Steelers, Ravens playing down the street. They can just come over. And it's a disaster. So I'm going to let you tell the story. But from my point of view, and you said it to the crowd, nobody was more heartbroken than you about the situation. And you offered refunds for people who didn't want to come in. I was upset that Offspring didn't play. It was a great festival, a great day. I was hanging out with my friends, listening to music. I got to meet you. It's just, I would do it again. I would do it again. If I knew exactly what was going to happen, I would do it again.
Oh, wow.
And that's a testament to you. And then what happens, right? Next year, you get Blink-182 to come and fucking COVID. But the good thing is, and you're going to talk about it, I'll let you talk. I've talked enough about it. I just wanted everyone to know this story because I truly believe this. And it's, I hope whether it happens this year or not, and we don't know, I know we're planning on it, that you got Blink-182 to come back again, and they will play your Four Chord whenever that is. I understand that. But talk a little bit about, as a event planner, as a band member and all of that, because people have an event plan. My sister's an event planner. You would have someone like my sister at this event to do this. But when you have to deal with all of it, talk about that situation and what it was, and just tell everybody, because it's an amazing story to me, how you handled it, which doesn't happen as well. People blame, right? For Firefly, people blame and shit, right?
I mean, dude, yeah. Well, first of all, I appreciate that story. That makes me feel really good. Okay, so I mean, that perspective is pretty accurate. I mean, me and my friends and a bunch of people that were involved. I mean, it is just me. Four Chord Music Festival, and we went from 0 to 60 from the year prior to Four Chord Music Festival 6 to Four Chord Music Festival 6. We went to from a 2,000 cap venue to a 10,000 cap space. That's not even the whole story, actually. So Four Chord Music Festival 6, it's a week, maybe 5 days before the festival. the owners of the venue, which is Highmark Stadium, which is a semi-professional soccer stadium, call me 5 days before the festival, say, we can't do the festival. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? We can't do the festival. So I rush down to Highmark Stadium. I sit down with the owner, who is not very nice to talk to. And they say, hey, there's a protective covering that has to go over the field, right? In order to make sure that the AstroTurf's not ruined. That protective covering was ruined at a concert that weekend prior. It was trampled on. It was unusable. So they said, we can't do the festival. So I'm sitting here doing damage control, saying, at least let us use your parking lot outside of the venue. So 5 days before the festival, all the stage plots, all of the riders, all of the dressing rooms, everything was supposed to be inside the venue. All the noise ordinances, the alcohol licenses, they're only for inside the venue. They're not for outside the venue. So in 5 days, I had to get a noise ordinance for, even though it's outdoors, it makes no sense. I had to get the alcohol permit extended to outside. We had to change the insurance policy from inside to outside. It was a total fuck fest. I'm sorry for cursing. I know my family are listening on here.
If Stewie can do it, then you can do it.
So that's 5 days. Now we fast forward to the day before. There's a soccer game the Saturday night before the festival. So that parking lot is filled to the brim with cars. So that we can't start making the festival until 11 p.m. on Saturday night. The festival doors open at 11 a.m. on Sunday. So we had to build fencing. We had to build green rooms. They had to build the stage, the lighting rig. People worked overnight. It was absolute hell. I will never do it again that way. And then we finally get to it. We're up overnight now. It's 24 hours. And 5 minutes before the general admissions door open, I got a phone call from the Offspring's agent saying that, and again, whatever, I've loved the Offspring my whole life, but I don't know how this excuse flies. But apparently the lead singer had some sort of health issue at their show in Philadelphia the night before, and they did not play. Now, picture this. All of the Offspring,
I thought it was the drummer or the guitarist.
The lead singer did. I think it was the lead singer. But so
now I remember it, but that's either way.
Yeah, either way, whatever. So, but you got to imagine the scenario. 5 minutes before doors open, VIP is sold out. People are at VIP already, and people are waiting at doors. So in 15 minutes, we had to decide, obviously I empathize with these people. I put my heart and soul into this day. So we put a sign in front of the door that said, if you came to see the Offspring, they just canceled. And anybody that wants a full refund on their ticket, you cannot have your ticket scanned. So of the thousands of tickets sold, believe it or not, only 300 people decided to get the refund.
That's great.
But you got to picture this too. So they cancel. The Offspring's crew flew separately. They had no idea about this. And the Offspring's gear was delivered in a semi at 6 a.m. that day. All their gear was set up on stage.
Did it find their way back to them?
It did. Their crew showed up. I had to send a car to pick up their crew at the airport. The crew came from the airport to the venue. They then packed up all their gear and put it back on the semi, and the semi left before we even started the show. So it was a total mess. There was a point where I was like, I can't do this. I'm just going home, and I'm going to let it just burn to the ground. But, in the end, that was like 30 seconds across my mind. And then it ended up great. Simple Plan stepped up and said, we'll play a longer set. All the bands were super, super understanding. They knew that I had nothing to do with it. But people were upset. It took some damage control to try to, So after the show was over, I was there till 4 a.m. cleaning up garbage, doing the whole thing, make sure everything went. It was torrential downpour, right? The show ends. It's supposed to be rain all day. It pushes off. Simple Plan goes on. It starts drizzling. Then they hit their last note. It's a torrential downpour. So I get home at 4 a.m. and from 4 a.m. until about 8 a.m., I responded to every email, every Facebook post, every Facebook message.
You can't. This. You can't please everyone. But if you're sincere about it, and which you were from the start, you got on stage and talked about it. Even when your band was playing, you talked about it. I think that's the best you can do.
Got to be transparent. Listen, I have nothing to hide. I'm sure that, Offspring's agents and people had nothing. They had nothing to do with it. Nobody, I don't know. It was a tough situation, but in the end of the day, I mean, it was really a great day, surprisingly. It ended up being awesome. People had a great time. People that were there who really came to see The Offspring, it didn't matter. They still had an amazing time. We had pro wrestling. We had BMX professionals setting up a BMX ramp. You know what I mean? So it was just ended up being a great day, but it was a big lesson for me, and that goes to show, man, you don't learn everything in school.
But what about your PhD? Or you have a PhD? It was a PhD?
Yes.
Yeah. What about your PhD helped you in this situation?
Didn't at all.
No?
I mean, that's the thing about academics, man. Academics, in theory, I mean, depending on the professor. Like, I have a lot of professors that were terrible, and I teach my classes as if they are doing it. You know what I mean? And so it didn't teach me anything. I learned more from being on tour with my friends, sleeping on floors, booking shows, than I did, studying Aristotle's theory of economics. I mean, like, I didn't. But obviously being in school, it trains your brain to think. So like when you're in that situation, your brain is primed, ready to kind of function at the highest level, but it doesn't teach you how to damage control The Offspring canceling 5 minutes before a festival.
I think, the two comments when you say that, there are people at that, just because I know the fans, and that probably could have filled in. So everyone but the singer could have came in and filled in, and it probably would have been, somewhat interesting. But
that's a good point. And they did say that after. They were like, if it was anybody else, they probably could have made it work. But whatever. I mean, I'm glad it's over. And again, the reason I got brought up is the hologram tickets that you made. I'm sitting here looking at the screen printed poster from it that says The Offspring. It's like a misprint now.
Yeah. Hold on. I hate to do this because it's live, but I got to show you something too.
Yeah.
I should have been more prepared, but that's just the way that I do. Everything. Unfortunately, hold on. Here we go.
Where is Matt? Matt, get back here.
Live shows. I don't know why I didn't bring this because I have something else. But you got the 4-chord.
I don't even have those anymore.
Really?
Is that empty?
Yeah, it's empty.
Okay. That's awesome.
I keep beer, cool beer cans, but I have this, and I have my badge, the working badge. So it was great. I can't wait for the next one. I know you can't talk about a lot of things as of today. You're planning on moving forward. Is that contingent on things getting better? If it was next weekend, could you do it or no?
Yeah, good question. And I'm an open book. I know there's NDAs and stuff, but I'm an open book with this stuff. And I am moving it again to the fall. This is a total clusterfuck because every single festival on planet Earth is trying to do a festival from September 1st until the first week of October. So I'm in the process of moving it to September. I'm close on, again, I'm trying to, taking any one of those band, top 7 build band schedules and trying to re-coordinate is hard. So I'm working from the top down. So obviously Blink and the Used are my first priority, which I'm very, very, very close to being able to announce that new date. I'm trying to work on all the other bands that there are some conflicts we're trying to work through, but it is going to be moved into September.
Well, why not October? Wasn't last year or 2 years ago? It was October.
It was October. I mean, it's all on schedules. It's all on, band schedules. Cause obviously, Blink is a massive band.
Yeah,
I mean, they are the band. I mean, for me and anybody that knows me, I know that a lot of people whoever's watching are going to see this on my Facebook page. I mean, they're the reason why I even doing this to some degree. And so their schedules are very complex. Travis doesn't fly, the drummer, because he was in a plane crash.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff. I mean, honestly, I hate flying to begin with. So I don't blame him at all. So there's some logistics that have to, happen for that, but I'm working on it every second of every day. It's very close. The best I can say is that it's very close. But I really want to tell people that it's going to be pushed back, but I guess now I have for anybody that's listening, but there's kind of specificity involved in the contracts of what you can explicitly do and not explicitly do. And I don't want to,
I don't want to get into, I was just curious about, because you were slated for July.
July 17th is what it was moved to from July 2020. So like if it were next week, it couldn't happen. It couldn't happen. If we wanted to do it in West, is Getting Blink a glass ceiling for four chord? Where do you go from the band that got you into this? That's a good question. I'll answer that in a second. Alex, my boy from England, what's up?
Green Day.
We couldn't do a show. We couldn't do the festival next week in Pittsburgh if we wanted to. There's still large gathering restrictions here. Now, granted, this festival is outdoors, so it's gonna be a little different than if it was indoors. But you know me too, Matt. Like I take this pandemic very seriously. All my family are in the medical field. My wife's in the medical field, who put herself at risk every day this entire year. So I take it very seriously. To the point where I've humored, buying 10,000 of these snap tests. Abbott Technologies is a pharmaceutical company that's essentially created a pregnancy test type thing for, well, not pregnancy, but for COVID that works the same way. But it's so expensive. So I'm going to be very safe. And I'll be honest, man, come September, even if shows are happening, if the barometer in our area is that it's not safe, then I'm going to move it again. I mean, this is bigger than Blink and bigger than me, even though this is not my dream come true. It's bigger than me. So
it's really a coin flip. You could have 10,000 people and everything's fine, and you could have 500 people and the one person has it. And then in a festival like yours, where people are flying in, it's like when you walk. I was in Nashville and Vegas. Like they don't live there; they're going elsewhere. And I'm not gonna. I said this. I forget who I said this to, but like I'm not gonna go to the Four Chord Music Festival, catch COVID, and then tell everyone I caught it at the Four Chord Music Festival and be that guy, right?
Yeah, but I mean, that's the risk that that's the risk that the state is going to allow promoters to take when they remove the restriction. I mean, Florida is open, right?
Florida is open. I've been to football, socially distanced football. College is talking about full stadiums, and I'll go to the game, but I'll feel anxious about it for sure. And
Are you vaccinated?
I will be next week. Or the next week or the 4th. So I will be. But yeah, no, I think the way you're doing it is like, I don't understand why these people are in such a rush to put it on and announce. Just push it. And look, if you have to sit out of here, then sit out of here. If that's what you have to do, I get it. Like someone for you is a lot more devastating for someone like, these bigger ones out in California, like Coachella and Stagecoach.
Oh yeah,
and then you have this thing happen where EDC cancels, and the guy said, "Book your hotel, book your flight," and now the fans are like, "Are you going to refund me for all that?"
That's a really good point. So I've gotten a lot of emails being like, "Hey, why aren't you saying anything right now?" And I've come from the personal belief system that it is incredibly distasteful to sit here and like I've spent $0 on marketing on this fest, $0. We've sold tons of tickets. It's going the best it's ever been. I've spent $0 on marketing, and people are like, why are you not making social posts? It's because I don't think it's appropriate right now. It will be soon, and I will give updates, very quickly about what's going on, but I just don't feel like I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it just feels very tone deaf to sit here and say, go buy my music festival tickets. Don't pay your rent. And not that that's the choice.
No, but that's what people do. I mean, not that they don't pay their rent, but they buy tickets that they probably shouldn't buy because it's that important to them.
I appreciate it. And believe me, it's important to me. There's nobody that is a bigger proponent of the music scene and specifically the Pittsburgh music scene than me. But I feel very uncomfortable saying, go buy tickets to my concert. I don't know what's going to happen yet. It probably will happen, but I just don't feel right when people are dying and, there's even Allegheny County where Pittsburgh is in, it's seen a big uptick. I mean, a relatively big uptick over the last 3 weeks. I mean, I just don't feel right. I mean, I feel very encouraged that there's 200 million people that have at least one vaccine. I mean, to me, I'm super. And then 50 million have gotten the virus, so they have some antibodies. I mean, I try to think about it scientifically and not with my heart. My heart would say, let's do a show tomorrow. And Matt, fly up here and let's go have a 4-chord brewski together,
Yeah.
But it just it feels distasteful right now for me to sit here and ram it down people's throats.
I agree. Is it okay for me to say that I prefer Blink with Tom?
No, it's not. Man, I have a great story that I can't tell anybody. I don't know why I just said that. I have a great story about this. Maybe one day in my memoir that my mom and dad will read, I will talk about it. But there's a great story. But I do, Blink is Blink. I will take any iteration of Blink.
I agree. I saw them with Lil Wayne. I guess that was the last year, 19, and I was in the pit. My wife's friend had a pit ticket, and I had lawn seats, which I'm perfectly happy being in the lawn. And he's like, "Yeah, I got an extra pit ticket. Sell yours." I'm like, "All right, what the heck?" So I was right up there, and man, Travis had the. I mean, I don't want to spoil for anyone who hasn't seen him yet, but the stuff that Travis does, and man, they're older. You can look at him. I'm looking at him. I'm like, man, we are getting old. He's out there, hopping and skipping, playing the guitar. It's just great, and he's a great follow on social media too.
Great, Mark. Are you talking about Mark Hoppus?
Yeah. Mark is a great follow on.
Mark Hoppus is literally. I don't look up to musicians or celebrities at all. I don't look up to really anybody in the public light. I do really, if I were to say look up to one person, it's Mark Hoppus. I mean, anybody that knows me really well, like growing up in the music scene, like we were Blink 183. Like that's essentially what our band was. We've come into our own, I think. But Mark Hoppus and Blink, I mean, dude, I don't know. Like during the early 2000s, they like taught you how to be friends. Mark and Tom, they taught you how to like not take yourself too seriously. So this is a huge. This is a massive thing for me personally. And that's, I think Alex had mentioned, is this the glass ceiling? What do you do after this? I mean, the only thing that I can go after this is Taylor Swift, who I'm in love with. So, and my wife's in love with, so maybe that could be a fun little thing. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Blink is pretty much, the pinnacle for me, I mean, this is it. So for COVID to happen and to move it once and to move it again, it's just like, this is a sick joke.
Yeah. Have you ever met them?
So when I was 16 years old, I won backstage passes on the radio, and I met them once. But the day that they played Pittsburgh, Travis actually got in a fist fight the day before and broke his wrist and wasn't there. And they had a fill-in on that tour. So I met them when I was 16, and the next year I won them again on the radio and met them when I was 17. But again, it's a different situation. I mean,
Yeah. You have a picture?
No, there were no pictures allowed. But there is a really, really interesting story. When we met them the second time, Eternal Boy used to be a band called the Space Pimps. For a long time, we kind of got stuck with the name. I hated the name. It's not a representation of anything other than stupidity when you're 17 years old. But we met Tom backstage when I was 17, and I have the recording. We asked him, he was like, "Hey, we just like started playing. We were nothing. We were playing their covers." We were like, "Yo, Tom, you have to give the Space Pimps a shout out on stage." And truth be told, we had front row tickets. He saw us and he gave the Space Pimps a shout out when I was 17 years old in front of 35,000 people, which was awesome. And I have that recording that I go to sleep with and puts me to sleep every night. And I have good dreams about it. But yeah, so I met them that time, but I've never met him outside of that. How do you approach your idol and like get him to see that you're a legitimate person and you should be friends? Is that weird?
Well, I think, not when you're at, not in you right now, you're at the space where you're in a band, you're running a festival, and be like, you just start that relationship. I don't know. Everyone's different. Some people are not receptive to it.
Mark, do you want to come back over to my house and play video games? Like, I don't know.
What Tom's got, I like his new band's music. Like, what is it? What are they called?
Well, it's not new anymore, but Angels and Airwaves.
Yeah. Well, whatever, not new. It's just weird, the stories on, with him and the UFOs and all that stuff. And who knows? That's for another Definitely. That's for another conversation. We're going to finish off on Blink here. I mean, not the interview, but with Blink as a topic. What are your three favorite Blink songs? Do you have?
Oh my God. I love when people ask me this. My favorite song of all time by Blink is "What's My Age Again." I know it's a single, but that song is unbelievable. Probably my second favorite song is "Always," which is on their Untitled record. And then my third favorite song is a song called "Emo." It's a deep cut off of Dude Ranch, which is the record that kind of allowed them to become massive with Enema of the State. But those are my 3 favorite songs. What's My Age Again, Always, and Emo.
Give me Rock Show, First Date, and I Miss You.
Yeah, all the singles. That shows what a fair weather Blink fan you are.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because I am a mainstream guy for almost all the bands. And I go a little bit deeper, but I'm a mainstream music guy. And that's what I love about when I go to these festivals is to hear, people I never knew about. And
that's what I loved about Warped Tour. Dude, I discovered like 5 of my favorite bands my first Warped Tour. And that's what Four Chord's about. I'm glad you said that because that is exactly – you go to see Blink, but you see Eternal Boy or you see, another band that's like smaller. That's the charm of festivals like Four Chord and Warped Tour.
Yeah, I watched the I Voted festival that we did a thing for and heard of a band called Fever 333, which I never – I mean, they were incredible.
That's a Travis Barker produced band.
Is it?
That band. And they were in a band. Some of those dudes, the lead singer was in a band called Let Live for a long time. That band is nuts. They're next level, dude.
Yeah. They were a real high energy. I don't know who they reminded me of. It kind of reminded me of when I saw the Rejects, and I'm terrible with names here, but he had like a cast on his leg and he's hopping around the whole stage going nuts and singing. It was great. I love finding out new bands and just shit to listen to. I got some new music from the people I discovered at Four Chord on my playlist, and I'm walking. Douchebag is one of them.
And Pending, our boys.
Yeah. That's probably the one I listen to the most.
Patent Pending is that I talked about like a handful of people that have helped Eternal Boy. Kevin Lyman and Joe Ragasta from Patent Pending are the 2 people that have just been really good to us for no reason. Yeah,
I met him inside the building. Really, really seemed like a nice guy. So that seems to check out. What's next? What's next for you? I mean, is this going to kind of just keep improving Four Chord and band? Do you have aspirations for bigger things for your band? Are you going to you're a professor until you get your tenure? What's next for you?
Well, Eternal Boy, we have a huge week coming up next week. We have a new album coming out called Back in Drover on Friday, a week from today. So, you can see that we have a Billboard record right there for our last album, Eternal Boy. So we're really trying to work this week. Is a huge week for us to try to drive traffic and drive sales. In terms of the band, it's always growth. I mean, it's who will lend us their ears for 2 minutes and let us convince them and make our sales pitch as to why they need to maybe give us a chance. We always touring. I mean, we tour internationally a lot. We tour in the States. So once shit goes back to normal, we'll be back on tour. But really, this record, Bad Days Are Over, is a big one for us. We didn't know if we wanted to release it during the pandemic. It's been done for a year. It was going to come out a year ago, but we sat on it thinking that this was going to be a lot less of a big deal, COVID, that is. So we've sat on it a lot. We have a lot going into this. I do think that it is, if you like Blink and you like that style of popular punk or pop punk, this is for you. So we're pushing that hard for Eternal Boy. The label, I'm talking with 2 or 3 bands that I'm looking to sign that I think are phenomenally good. And then the festival, I want to just have Four Chord. I mean, this is my pinnacle for right now, getting Blink and getting this going and making this festival a real experience. That's really what I'm focusing on. Now that ticket sales are kind of, normally I worry about ticket sales, but because this has been a really good ticket sale year, surprisingly, I mean, who would have thought that?
Well, it's Blink,
Blink, right.
So they're confident that they'll get to see him whenever it is. So it's like, let's buy it now. And then you don't have to worry about it. Like that might be gone. I don't need it.
Yeah, I think so. I hope so. I mean, but my goal is to make it like a real experience. I'm normally take on too much. I'm a bit of a control freak. People that know me will say that I am one, not a bit of one. But it's more of a constructive control freak. Like, it's like an artist. You like have a vision of your painting. You're not going to let somebody lend a hand to paint a brush on your, painting. But and that's a bit of an extreme example, but I want it to be an experience. I want people to go there and there's, BMX skateboarding, there's wrestling, there's circus people that are breathing fire, there's Ferris wheels. There, I want it to be like a whole thing for them. I want I want sponsors to come and like, for example, Warped Tour. I learned this from Kevin Lyman. They had Ernie Ball, a sponsor. They had a big tent every Warped Tour one year where you could go and play the bass guitars and the guitars and have headphones and see what they sound like. I want it to be a big, big event. So I'm focusing on kind of the experience because I know, obviously, millennials and even Gen Zers, they don't care about money anymore. They care about the experience. So that's a big thing I'm trying to work with Forecourt. And I think Ticket Time Machine can have a big hand in that too.
Yeah, I think we're working on some pretty cool stuff that I think will probably be available for when you go. Have you ever been approached by bigger companies about the festival to purchase?
I had one conversation with a bigger company. Made no sense at the time. And to be honest with you, I have had a conversation with one very recently about it. Most of the time it's bigger companies trying to stronghold me and say, well, what do you, Blink is this Live Nation band or an AEG band or that's not something you can do, and I basically just said, fuck off and did it anyway. So no, yeah, I mean, I have no interest in doing that. Unless they're going to say, here's $15 million.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense for that. And, anybody that knows me knows that I'm not in this really for the money. That sounds really stupid. And I don't mean it in a stupid way. I mean it in a more like, I just really love starting something from the ground and watch it turn into something. I find incredible joy out of that, whether it's a band, whether it's a record label, whether it's a high school student that graduated second to last in his class, which is me. Whether it was somebody and said that you can never go on to get a PhD or that I just really like building something from the bottom up and seeing it kind of succeed. I don't really have intentions of being a millionaire over Forecourt Music Fest.
Yeah, but it could happen. And that's that's the good thing. And I'm the same as you. We talk about, I'm a memorabilia guy, collectible.
Me too.
I have stuff that my dad gave me and they're worth, decent money, but I was like, short of you giving me life-changing money for it, I'm probably never going to do it. So that's your baby. And so
that's a great analogy.
It makes sense. You give me life-changing money, I'll forego some things because there's a lot of other experiences no one can take away the first 6 that you've done and what you've accomplished. So at the end of the day, selling it is not going to be, it's not necessarily selling out, but it's also, you want it to be what you do. You sell it, you lose control of it, even if they tell you can do. At the end of the day, now it's a monetary. And, I don't know the ins and outs of the business as much, but I've had some conversations where I can tell you that there are bands that are very beholden to the AEGs and the Ticketmasters and all of that. So to be able to get it, it's not that it's up to the band at the end of the day, because especially a band like Blink-182, because they can do whatever they want at the end of the day. They'll sell, they can go and play barns and people are going to buy them, right? They'll sell out anywhere they go. So I think it's great to have them, want to play something like that. And it's going to be a great day for them too. I
do. That's a really good point. Listen, if I'm Blink or I'm a band that has a big booking agent, these big Live Nations are paying the money. I get it. Because Live Nation owns these big venues, right? So they don't mind overpaying for a band against a little guy like me because they're going to make a killing on alcohol. They just want 20,000 people in the seats because 20,000 people on average of spending $30 on alcohol and food, they're going to make their nut back and then some. Off
30. Who the hell are you going to concerts with?
Is that too much or too little?
Way too little.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. See, I underplay everything.
It's like $30 a beer at all these other things. Yours was like $6, I think. It was pretty reasonable.
Yeah, no, we don't. Yeah, again, we're not corporate. I'm not gonna charge a $12 beer a pounder for beer, and that's what's great about even the beer company we work with. It's a local, awesome craft beer company. I don't drink it all, but I did drink a beer here to taste the Forecourt beer. They're called Dancing Gnome. They're from Sharpsburg, PA, which is like a little suburb in Pittsburgh. Dude, they did an amazing job. And again, because they're so cool and because they're craft, we don't need to inflate the price and cost to the consumer. We just don't have to, and I don't want to.
And to have something like this, this is awesome. To have this, a festival beer. Riot Fest did did something like that. I think I might have told you where you peel it off and it says like Riot Fest sucks or something. You know, they're always ranking on themselves. But that's a cool thing to keep, and just to, even if you're just there, the experience of it, drinking it, and you don't keep it. I mean, I hope you guys will have another beer this year.
We will.
Or the next time. And I love craft beer, but it's just a cool thing. You could put Budweiser in there. It's still a really cool thing to have.
It's a good talking piece, and it's a, you know, again, we're not making a shitload on it. You know, I mean, the cool thing about Four Chord Music Fest, man, you know, and festivals like Four Chord, you know, looking at how I can see clearly now how big festivals make money, right? Obviously, they're bringing, you know, Burning Man's bringing 30,000 people, so they're making obviously enough off ticket sales. But dude, the sponsorship revenue, the ticket fees, dude, Four Chord Music Fest, I take total pride. It has the lowest of any festival that you will find, and if you can find one that's lower, I will match it. Extra fees on top because we use a local Pittsburgh ticketing company. They're national, international, but they are awesome to work with. They're called ShowClicks. In terms of printing the actual inventory and emailing the physical ticket to get yourself in the venue for. I mean, we control all the fees, you know? So, I mean, not all of them, but we control a lot of them. So a $60 ticket is really only $65 to the consumer. It's not going to be $80 like it will be at Live Nation. Those minutia and idiosyncrasies mean everything to me.
If I had an event, and I'm going to, we have an event that's going to happen. It's not going to happen this year. It'll probably happen next year around Gator basketball, but that's going to be, you know, I say I got to control the concessions for two reasons. One, we can make money on it, and that's part of the way where we need to make money. And two, I don't want you to have to charge, you know, $8 for a sandwich and a beer. I'm going to charge $1 for water, $2 for soda, you know, $4 for a beer, $2 for a hot, whatever it is. It's going to be affordable. So, you know, you can spend extra money. I want you to take that money and spend it on something for your kids who are there, or on yourself that you can come home and have it with. So, you know, I love that. Yeah.
That's a great point, right? Because, I mean, there's not just one thing to buy at a festival or an event, right? There's band merch. The band needs, you know, they'll spend some money on band merch. They'll buy some festival merch. They'll buy a beer. They'll buy a hot dog. They'll buy a souvenir mug. I mean, there's a lot of money to go around, you know what I mean? And I just don't think that we need to be this greedy about it, even at this level with Blink. I just don't think we need to do it. And I don't want to do it right now.
I mean, if you're going to spend $50 on an event, I'd rather you break it up than buy that $50 shirt or, you know, sweatshirt. So that's just the way I am. And, you know, hopefully other people are. And I think there's just so many shirts you can have. That's why we like our mini posters, tickets.
Yeah.
What other festival? You played Warped Tour. What other festivals have you played that you really liked playing at?
We have played.
But
yeah. We played Rock USA, which is in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. We played, I can't remember the name of the festival, in Bethlehem, PA. We played with Newfound Glory. We played festivals in Japan called Shibuya Crash, which is like a huge punk festival. We played, I mean, we played so many. We played Cornerstone Festival once, which is a Christian festival, which when I was 19, I didn't know it was Christian. Just so some of my favorite bands were playing. We played a bunch. Warped Tour was a staple for us, but I mean, like, I'm trying to, like, Patent Pending, right? Joe from Patent Pending has really helped us in the UK. They're big in the UK, so they brought us on tour 2 or 3 times in the UK with them. And when we were there once, they played Reading and Leeds Festival.
They just announced their lineup, pretty good lineup
for 2022, I believe, right? Or is it?
I didn't even look. You know what? I didn't even look at the year. You might be right.
I think it's 2022. But so yeah, I mean, all festivals are different, you know. But I mean, I don't want to be Reading and Leeds.
Yeah.
I don't want to be Riot Fest, and that's okay. It's okay that we don't. I mean, I don't want to be Burning Man. I don't want to be Bunbury or Firefly. You know, I mean, and again, it's not a knock on them.
No,
you know, it's just that, you know, I'm more of a punk rock bowling type of festival. That's a festival in Las Vegas super deal. And same with Fest in Florida, right? Fest is a much more DIY type thing. That's more in my alley. That's like
that's in Gainesville.
Yeah.
Right. Fest 19 or.
Yep. Fest, and it's happening in October, whatever. They do it on Halloween weekend. So I hope that's more my alley. It's a little more DIY, but still refined, still has a reputation, still has a nice brand. I just don't have no interest in kind of giving up. I don't want to say control because I maybe I'm self-conscious about being a control freak, but I don't want to give up control to a Live Nation. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's I don't either. So you try and hold. I haven't taken money from anyone. I own 100%, and that's the way it's always going to be.
Tell me about. Let's reverse the rules. Tell me about Ticket Time Machine. When did it start? How did it start? And it's not your full-time gig, right?
No, it is now.
It is. Okay.
Yeah, I was working for LexisNexis, but I went to a Marlins game and there was a no-hitter thrown, and I had a digital ticket. I went to the box office and they said, they announced go to the box office. I asked if they could customize it. They said no. I know they can. Then you go to the Live Nation amphitheaters. They used to charge you $5 for a printed ticket if you lost it or wanted. Then they started charging $20, which tells me they don't want you to buy it. They don't want you to pay $20 for it. They want you to think this isn't an option for me, so they can go away from it. So April of last year, I went full time, and I'm all in. It's gonna happen. You were someone who gave me a chance, which I appreciate. And again, I have the good thing about Offspring canceling is I have a ton of tickets that I didn't sell that I use as the samples that I send out, which is a very good sample. It's hard to get good because I have tickets like that they didn't look as good for whatever the reason was there.
You want to be the commemorative ticket go-to, or do you want to be the ticket printer distributor?
We aim to be the commemorative. We do admission. We have RFID and barcode. We can do admission, but most people have admission already. So we want it to be just a click, get a souvenir, have a sponsor pay for the VIP. So you're walking around and people are like, oh man, that's awesome. Where'd you get it? And then you could sell it. So we're generating revenue for a few streams. We're enhancing the fan experience and adding value for the sponsors and partners. So we'll talk about, because I actually made some calls to see if people wanted to sponsor this ticket before I actually printed it. So I have some interns that we'll talk about making some calls for 4 Chord to see if we can't get some sponsors.
Oh, we'll definitely talk, man. We'll definitely talk.
Let's talk. You were very vocal in politics and on social media about a lot. Some of this isn't even politics, right? COVID's not politics. Black Lives Matter. It's not politics. These are just issues. But you did talk about politics. How does it feel to be able to just say whatever you want and not worry about what the response is? Because a lot of people don't say what they're thinking because of that. And I'm very vocal about everything because, at the end of the day, I feel like I'm on the right side of history, and that's fine. But there got to be people, the punk nation is kind of, I don't know, where do they stand? I know the country folks are a certain way, and like the artists have to kind of toe that line, not to, I don't know, what do they say? Push the apple cart, or what's that saying?
Yeah. I don't know the phrase. I know what you're trying to say, but I don't remember the phrase. Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. My friends and I, and even my band members and I have different perspectives on this. I think all my friends, we think similarly. I mean, we all are on the right side. I mean, what I perceive as the right side. Right. But some are less vocal. That their family might be much more conservative or much more not thinking the way they do. So they're a little more apprehensive to take that leap. I thankfully have full confidence in the way that shit's going to turn out, just like you said, in terms of history. I just don't know, man. I mean, believe it or not, I'm a first-generation American. My dad is 100% Indian. He was born in Kenya, in Africa, came to the United States in 1972 to be a doctor, met my mom, who's a nurse, who's from Pittsburgh. And of course, I look very, very white, but my dad is 100% Indian, So to have
Rishi Bahl, I mean, no one's looking at that name and thinking this is Rishi Bahl. Like, no, where's Rishi?
Yeah, no, my students, when I first day of class, they always tell me after I get to know them after years, no disrespect, but like we were expecting a short Indian guy to come teach us, and then they get I'm 6'6", and I'm pretty white. So I think that I think my personal situation of having family members that, my dad is had 6 brothers and has 6 brothers and sisters. Some of them have passed away. And I have 20 some first cousins. My dad is the only person in his family that married an American. So I'm literally the white sheep of my family. And so I've been around and seen like how people disrespect even Indian Americans, I believe very strongly that, that there is a right and wrong. I think that there's things that are more right and more wrong. And I don't disrespect people that are Republicans and conservatives. A lot of my friends that maybe are more conservative, they're not socially conservative. They're fiscally conservative, which though I disagree with economic policy with them on that, the social matters to me matter.
There's a big difference.
Yes.
There's no one that is right for saying that George Floyd should have died. I don't care what he did. There's no right statement that says he should have died. Now, we can talk about a lot of other things, but to me, I don't know how you make that argument. So you're right about the distinction between the physical stuff and the social stuff. And some people are mixed.
I don't know. There's no perspective with the George Floyd or with police brutality that is documented, that is on film. There is, if you try to make an argument against that particular situation, you're trying to make an argument that grass isn't green.
Yeah.
I mean, there's facts, and then there is kind of facts. And I believe that the most dangerous thing that's happened in the last 5 to 8 to 10 years with social media are opinions. I think opinions are the most dangerous thing. People say, it's my opinion. I can have my opinion if I want. No, you can't. In 2021, there's no such thing as a correct opinion. There are only correct facts. Okay,
well, we don't know what a fact is in this country also with the fake news and all that. So that's like it's a good point, but people are using the word fact like it's the ignium mortuae. You keep using that word, right?
No, you're right. You're right. But I mean, if you go back, and I don't want to get academic, but like the Aristotelian perspective of what truth is. I mean, truth is a commonly held consensus amongst lots of people. The problem is 50% of the country thinks that a consensus is that racism doesn't exist in America.
Yeah.
I mean, so per the definition of ancient times, that's still a truth, quote unquote.
But the other thing I use for this is, and I do it when I speak at events, is the glass is half full, the glass is half empty. You're both right? The 2 people standing next to each other, the 6 and the 9, they're both right?
That's interesting. Something that I really live my life by that I think can really help in this idea of what's factual and what's not is what's called the golden mean. Again, it's Aristotle, blah, blah, blah. The golden mean essentially means living between excess and deficiency. So if you're too rich, you're going to have problems. If you're too poor, you're going to have problems. If you're too conservative, you're going to have problems. If you're too liberal, you're going to have problems. There is some truth that meets at the middle. But unfortunately, I don't think that George Floyd, I mean, there is no middle ground here, in my opinion, when it comes to Black Lives Matter in particular, and when it comes to COVID. Those 2 things, I don't believe that there's a middle ground. There is science and there's fact, and there are non-facts. And for people to try to take a fact and adulterate it into whatever it is that they think that it is. I was having a conversation with somebody that's a conservative a couple weeks ago, and they're like, you need to check out this group of doctors. They're called the Frontline Doctors of America.
I've seen this.
Right? Have you heard about this?
I think I saw the video.
Yeah, that video of this group of doctors that say things about COVID aren't true and that it's blown. It's like, dude, and people come to me and say, see, doctors are saying that it's true. Well, let me tell you something. There are shitty doctors and there are good doctors. There are shitty professors and there are good doctors.
I've been to
them. Shitty lawyers and there are good lawyers. I mean, you have to use your critical thinking brain to make a decision on what's more likely to be true. And that's where we have a huge disconnect in America.
I forget, it was going around Twitter, but it was I think in Australia, the headline was murderer who got caught murdering on tape was convicted of murdering. It's like, and they're like, they know how to do it. That's how you do it.
It's just fucked up because like we're the only first world country on planet Earth with gun problems.
Yeah.
We're the only first world country on planet Earth that has some of these issues. And you cling to things like the Second Amendment, which of course it's in the Constitution. But you know what's really great about the Constitution and our forefathers, as white and racist as they were, the best part is that it was meant to be changed.
Amended.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we just cannot get past. I wonder what the world will look like in 40 years.
I hope I'm here. Maybe. I don't know if I'm healthy.
You got to think a lot of these, like, you know, I don't know. I thought that I would say like a lot of these older conservatives are going to be dead and gone.
No,
but dude, even being a college professor, like, it's crazy to see how many young people think like their parents.
I mean, look at the Tucker Carlson. He's a younger guy, and even the people in the Senate. Anyway, we can talk about all this stuff. We can do a show for all of this. I didn't even follow politics. I know Clinton, yes. Once Obama became, I got interested because I thought it was just great. But if I was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and you asked me who the press secretary was for any of them, I'd lose. And I don't even know who I'd call it to ask. So the fact that Trump comes in and now we all know it and it's a thing, what point did you become more vocal and interested in it? Was it Trump? Was it before Trump?
Long before Trump. I hated politics. I knew two things when I graduated high school. I didn't want to go into politics, and I didn't want to be a teacher or professor. And I've done both of those things. My freshman year in college was the Kerry Bush campaign. That's when I got involved in it. My girlfriend at the time was very, very involved, and I was like, "Who fucking cares, dude?" And then like you started seeing, about Iraq and 9/11, and I lived through 9/11, and that got me involved in politics. And then after I graduated college, I worked for 1 year or interned for about a year for the Rendell for Governor campaign. Ed Rendell was the governor of Pennsylvania in 2008, 9, 10. And that ruined my entire – everyone always told me in college, you should go into politics. You should go into politics.
Yeah.
And that absolutely ruined it. He was a Democrat, and it didn't even matter. He could have been a conservative or a liberal. He was just a piece of shit.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, right?
It doesn't matter, and that's why it's like, why do we even kill ourselves over elections and this and that? Like, it doesn't even matter. I mean, there's worse people like Trump, and there are, better people like Biden, but there's not the person. There's never going to be the person.
Yeah.
So that's when I got into politics. I think, when that whole election was happening.
Will it be fixed in our lifetime?
Never. No way. Dude, the whole balance of our country is based off of chaos. Yeah. It's all contingent on chaos. They want this to be like sports.
Like clips from,
Although, I mean, obviously, the Trump thing is.
It's they're going to look back at it and it's going to be like Back to the Future. Ronald Reagan was president? It's like, yeah.
I hope.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah, but who knows? I don't know. I like to do some fast questions here as we head to a close.
Sure.
Give me a bucket list, Rishi, for president. He's got more important things to do. Bucket list venue to play at that you haven't played at.
The Metro Chicago. No, we played the Metro Chicago once. Oh my God, like any size? Or anywhere. Like something that's within reason.
Oh, anywhere. You could play at the O2.
Okay. Wembley Stadium.
Wembley. How about in the States?
Gorge.
Have you played the Gorge? Red Rocks? I mean, those are some classics.
Red Rocks. So we said Gorge is awesome. It was on. We played Warped Tour, but we didn't play the West Coast part when they went to the Gorge in Washington State. I would say, oh God, this is. When I was 18 years old, we played Madison Square Garden. So like that would have been my normal one. We played this music festival called the New York City Film and Music Festival. Ended up playing Madison Square Garden.
Awesome.
I will say, I'll say Red Rocks.
Yeah, it's on my bucket list. I want to see Michael Fronte there because I think that'd be a good show. But really, anyone would.
Red Rocks sick.
Yeah, would be there. What's your Mount Rushmore of music? I think sounds like Blink is on there. It could be individual or groups.
Blink, Foo Fighters. Have
you seen Nandy, the young girl who's banging on the drums and doing the thing? That's a great story.
Great story. Yeah, it's super cool. Again, like I don't necessarily love these. Blink I love, but I don't love all these bands, but I respect them and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. It's got to be Blink. It's got to be Foo Fighters. Got to be Nirvana. Got to be Richard Marx.
Yeah, he's a good follow too. he does the back and forth with Matt Nathanson, who's another great follow. They're like like in a lover's quarrel. It's pretty good. I love Matt Nathanson. Great great music, but he's a great performer.
Richard Marx was the first cassette tape I ever bought. Great pop singer. So him.
It's waiting. Great. He has a new song out too. That's just not bad.
Oh, I would have no idea. I'm talking about 1994 Richard Marx.
No, he put on a new one. It's not bad. It's on my phone. We get you out of here on this. The same thing we do with everyone. You can pick one person to hang out with for 24 hours, and he agrees. One person, 24 hours. You get to hang out with them, do whatever you want. They have to be living, and you can't be related to them or have met them. Who is it?
I mean, it's between Taylor Swift and Mark Hoppus. I'm getting closer to that being a reality with Mark Hoppus.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift. I say I'm in love with her. I just love her songwriting and her brand. I just want to go on the beach, drink a cherry Coke, and write a song with her.
Yeah.
Mark Hoppus. I want to sit in his office, go through all of the Blink-182 memorabilia, and question him on a million questions that I have about Blink that nobody would ever have the answers but him.
That's great. I love to ask the questions that no one's asked before. That's why I try and not have it. So when you go, look back at this, you're like, man, I every show I go on asks the same thing. So I try and get a few questions. If you have to pick one, is it Taylor or Mark? I assume it's got to be Taylor. You're going to meet Mark. I'm
going to say Mark.
Wow. Well, you're going to meet him, so I can't help you there. But
I might meet him. I might not. Sometimes it's not. It's much different backstage. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but we'll see.
Yeah, I gotta think you will. Anyway, Eternal Boy album out April 30th. That's next Friday. We'll have Eternal Boy on our New Music Friday. Bad Days are out. The single is out already because I have it on Amazon. Yeah,
30 something is out right now. Video. We have a new video we're dropping the day the album comes out. We're doing a whole week of a digital tour starting Monday. Where on Monday, we're interviewing the producer who produced the record. Tuesday, we're interviewing Joe Ragassa from Patent Pending and other friends of the band. Wednesday, we're doing a live stream from our practice space. Thursday, we're doing a countdown to the record coming out. We're giving away one-of-a-kind items every 10 minutes from 11 a.m. or from 11 p.m. to 12 p.m. Friday night is a Q&A with me, an acoustic performance. And May 1st, Saturday, is our big full album release live stream full band.
That's awesome. May 2nd is my birthday, Sunday. We do celebrate.
If I see you on that live stream, I'm singing you happy birthday, Matt.
All right. I might have to. It's Saturday, right? You said Saturday?
Saturday, May 1st, 7 p.m. Facebook, YouTube.
Tune in for Rishi and Eternal Boy. fourchordmusicfestival.com. News coming soon. Blink-182 is scheduled to play, and they will play whenever it may be. I did forget to ask you about your favorite memorabilia. What's your favorite piece of memorabilia that if you can only keep one?
My favorite piece of memorabilia is, oh my God, dude, I have so many. My favorite piece of memorabilia, I can only keep one. Okay, this is this Joker painting is from Matt Skiba from Blink.
Oh, wow.
I'll keep that. And I have a Mario Lemieux. I'm a huge Pittsburgh Penguins fan. I have a Mario Lemieux signed hockey stick.
That's pretty awesome too. That's some good stuff. That's another one of those, life-changing money, or I'm keeping it.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right, Richie. Always great to talk to you. Big fan. I told you the day I met you. We'll do whatever we can to support, and looking forward to seeing what's next and being a part of it. Check out Eternal Boy, Four Chord Music Festival. That's it. Have a great weekend.
Thank you very much, Matt. I just want to say you're a great dude. Work with a lot of people. You are amicable. You are friendly. You are nice. You are understanding. And there need to be more people like you in the music scene. So thank you.
I would say likewise, and always appreciate the kind words. It's actually, when you meet someone like that, you want to go, do what you can for them, because, it's just what people do. So it's good to see someone else like that, and have a great weekend. Keep an eye out for all their stuff the week, and then New Music Friday. Bad Days are over, which they aren't, but they are. It will be soon. We don't know, but check it out anyway. We'll see you next week on the Wolff Den.
See you, Matt.